Welcome to the Building Business Relationship Show. I'm Matt Stone, and before we officially launch in 2026, date to be announced, we're exploring what matters most when it comes to relationships in business. These early episodes are about testing ideas, learning from guests, and we have a good one today as usual, and hearing what you think belongs in the conversation. So listen in, share your thoughts, and help shape what this show becomes. And joining me today, all the way from Toronto, a beautiful city, is Jamelle Lindo, an executive coach and international keynote speaker who's devoted to helping leaders build emotionally empowered, resilient, human-centered teams. With nearly 2 decades of experience and over 10,000 hours of coaching and speaking, Jamelle has guided thousands of executives worldwide through his emotional empowerment process. As the founder of Paradigm People Development and a member of the Forbes Coaches Council, he brings a unique blend of emotional intelligence, leadership insight, and real-world practicality to the challenges organizations face today. Oh, and for those who are listening only, Jamelle's contact information will be in the show notes of the audio podcast. You can also visit him at his website, JamelleLindo.com. That's JamelleLindo.com. Okay, back to the show. Jamelle, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I love the way you read that. It made it seem like, like I'm a big deal or something.
Oh, well, you are a big deal. I called your mother and she assured me that you are a very big deal.
Oh, well, if anybody knows.
Yeah, right. Dude, I'm just so grateful. And, transparency for our listeners, you're somebody that we met through a mutual acquaintance and friend. Yep. Mutual acquaintances and friends, actually, on multiple touch points. And now our friendship has just become such a pillar of my life. I get too distant from Jamelle and I'm like, oh, I need some vitamin J.
There you go, right? And then for those who don't know, Matt Stone has like a superpower when it comes to vulnerability. Maybe you'll see it today. And so I always refer to him as my vulnerability master and teacher. So it's one of the things that I just love so much about you, brother.
That means a lot to me. I really appreciate you saying that. Yeah.
You're welcome.
All right. But let's start off as we always do. Looking back, what's a business relationship that had a major impact on your career and life that you can recall?
Yeah, so I mean, this one isn't really it's not a business relationship, but in my previous world, I did a variety of leadership roles over the course of 10 years. And the first one that I did was in the space of new hire training. And so I met Tarek at that time, is his name. And he was my first kind of example of really good leadership. And then also, he put me on to this idea of leadership development. I had no idea that leadership development was a thing that was happening, that you could build a business around and all of that, right? So it kind of started there for me. And we also were able to kind of experiment with emotional intelligence in some of the sessions that we were running together. So it was the birthplace, really, of my business. And so that's the first relationship that comes to mind for me, because it's kind of like the origin story of where it all started before I even had a business, when I was just, working in the corporate space in leadership.
I think you're highlighting a key point when we talk about a business relationship. It isn't always a relationship that originated directly from business, but a relationship that very much impacts the business we get into, how we shape our business, the businesses that we choose, for example. And I think I like that expansive definition of business relationship. It sometimes helps you figure out what to do with your business in the first place.
Oh, yeah, I would 100% agree with that, right? Sometimes the biggest impacts come from people that you met before the business was even an idea.
Exactly. So you kind of alluded to it or suggested that it helped you with the business, but could we just get a quick example of a couple things where that relationship taught you something about business that you carry forward to this day? What are some thoughts, some memories that you have from that it's like the gift that keeps on giving?
I remember our first meeting, and it wasn't specific to business, it's really more about leadership, but the first time that we met, I was someone who was successful in getting this role of training. And so his role was now to mentor me in training and facilitation. And there are a number of things that kind of stand out to me. This is 20 years ago now, right? And I know that that's kind of crazy because you might be thinking, oh my gosh, 20 years ago, you were probably like, a fetus or something. but I look.
You do look very young. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
You don't even want to see me without the beard. If I take this beard off, I'm like non-existent.
Wow.
I'm like not even born yet. So in any case, I remember our initial meeting after I was successful for this role kind of sat me down, asked me a question that a leader had never asked me. He said, so how would you like to be led? And it kind of struck me because it sounds like an obvious thing, right? Like before you engage in kind of this this leadership journey together, it's probably a good idea to say, okay, well, how does this person actually want to be led, right? What kind of leadership brings the best out of them? And I just never had that question. So I was taken aback by it. And then I started to answer the question. I remember the feeling of the question because I felt seen and validated and that my experience mattered. And so it was kind of like this intro to what human-centered leadership really is. So that was one. And then another one it's kind of a funny one. So I was just starting, facilitating at the time. And I remember I did my first kind of official facilitation session, right? And immediately after we debriefed it together and I said, okay, so this really weird thing happened where I said the answer. And then immediately after, someone's hand shot up and asked me a question about the answer that I just gave. And I was so confused. I'm like, I don't get I just said that, right? And then he was just like, completely normal. Completely normal, right? And so that was the moment that I learned the difference between presenting and facilitating. Because when we facilitate, right, we take the participant on a journey with us. We confirm understanding. We ask questions. We get them involved in the learning process. And I was like, oh, okay. So I can't just say stuff and people get it. Like, no, that's not how this works. So that was a funny one, but an important one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Are there any like non-business, like entertainers or non-traditional business kind of figures that you've ever thought that like learned something from, maybe a movie or some kind of artwork that you've seen that hit you at a business level? I'm just curious. I don't know why I'm even asking that, but.
Yeah. Oh man, that is a super interesting question. So I do like boxing on the side, and it's so funny. So I've started this. I've got a trainer and everything, and I'm just loving it. I love the craft. I don't want to compete. I don't want to get in there. I don't want to do any of that. But I love the craft. I love the sweet science of it. There's something artistic about the movements and the strategy involved with all of that. And so it's been top of mind for me lately. So I've been watching a lot of Floyd Mayweather highlight videos, which kind of outline really what boxing mastery looks like, defensively, offensively. And so I'll often look at that and I think to myself, wow, he's mastered every single aspect, every single element of his craft, right? When you watch videos of people that have fought him, they'll talk about how he knows every inch of that ring. He is always within his familiarity because of the level of expertise that he brings, the level of experience that he brings, and the comfort that he has while he's in there is something to marvel at. Because you're getting punches thrown at you, right? So it naturally, all the anxiety and stuff kind of goes up, but he has this poise and this relaxation that makes him so incredibly effective in there. And so I compare that to a few things. Number one, I compare it to business, being an entrepreneur, because there are all of these different facets and aspects of business. And my goal is, over the course of a lifetime, to really master the various aspects of it. I also think about that in terms of psychology, right? And in terms of really understanding the person that I'm working with, the person that I'm coaching, right? What are their thoughts? What are their beliefs? What are their emotions? What are their orientations? What are their drivers? What are some of the things that have happened that have contributed to who they are today, how they show up, how they lead, how they perform? And that really is a craft that can be mastered by paying attention to every single detail and every single nuance and getting exposure to every single kind of person and every single kind of leadership and life situation. So Floyd Mayweather for me is like this inspiration for being detail-oriented and for perfecting the small things to eventually lead to a kind of mastery.
A person can have a profound impact on you and you've never even met them. It's amazing how that can work. And then if you actually do get to know the person, then it's a whole other level of impact. But, we're so impacted by other people.
We are, yeah. And you bring up an interesting point there when you say you could be and especially in this virtual world, you can be in relationship with someone that is one way. So if I watch enough content on anybody online, at a certain point, I start to actually feel like I know them. They don't know that I exist, but at some point I actually start to feel like I know who this person is. So you make a good point that you can be in a relationship even if it's one way, and you can learn a lot in those relationships, and I do my best to do that.
Okay, so I'm loving this for many reasons. And one of them is that we're getting into something that I'm really passionate about, which is redefining the boundary we put around the word relationship. Even when I go to a store, I consider my interaction with that clerk who's helping check me out a relationship, even if it's for 1 minute.
Yeah, it is a relationship, and in that 1 minute, something profound can happen, right? Lives can be changed in what would normally be considered just a simple transactional, kind of thing. I
will have a guest in this pre-show who is from the Congo, whom I met in an Uber.
Oh, wow.
And she's incredible. She has overcome amazing things and is building. She's got a business mind. She's incredible. And as I'm talking to her and she's driving me somewhere, I'm like, I may be a passenger in her car, but right now I'm a passenger in her life, and she's sharing this with me, and I'm learning from her. And so I stripped away our roles and was just dialed into the human, and I'm excited to bring her to everybody too. She's incredible. You're
really good at that. Like you're one of those people that, like, I've gone to a few events with you. Like, you're one of those people that when you meet, you just kind of naturally fall into rapport with people. Like it doesn't look like there's any effort, right? Like, I remember we went to a WeWork once in where were we? It was where you had that incredible lobster sandwich.
In Boston.
What was it? Boston. Yeah, it was Boston.
Boston. Yeah, that was
fun.
And
I just remember just the way that you kind of interacted with the people, and that kind of thing comes very naturally to you. And it's funny, you'd think that would come naturally to me as an emotional intelligence expert. It doesn't. I will sit in that Uber ride and just not say a word. And I'm totally cool with that. Right? So I'm working on that, man. I'm working on being open to these magical moments of the Uber ride or the cashier, and I'm working on it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, listen, there are appropriate times and inappropriate times. And sometimes you got to work something out in your head and you need the quiet space. But I do try and take advantage of every opportunity to have I look at it as a relationship. It can be a 30-second relationship. It can be a 30-minute relationship, but every interaction with another human is an opportunity. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I'll never forget that lobster sandwich. Never forget it.
I know you'll never forget it because when you were eating it, you forgot that I existed.
Yeah, that's true.
Felt like felt like I had to give you a moment.
I mean, it was really good. Neptune Oyster. And they are not sponsoring this podcast yet, but Neptune Oyster in Boston is unbelievable. Okay, listen, we got a couple more questions. We're running up against the clock here. So we're in the EQ space, so I'm going to combine two questions. I'm assuming you're going to bring EQ in it, but I don't know. What is it about relationships and business that isn't being talked about enough or at all that you think should be?
I think that what we don't talk enough about, and it was something that I eventually ran up against, being a new entrepreneur, it was something that I missed. As an eager, business owner, you want to get in, you want to be successful, you want to sell your service, you want to do all of that, right? But what's far more important than that is doing it with the right people and doing it in an aligned way. So I think what we need to talk more about when it comes to relationships and business is, who are you in business with? Would you say that the people that you're in business with are an accurate reflection of the values that you hold? And I think that once we start to get into that conversation, get into that space, and we're lit up from the inside out, with a mission or a purpose or a cause that really means a lot for us, it just becomes about finding other people who share that passion. And then the business ends up being an outcome of the passion that you both share. You're both on fire, right, for whatever it is that you're doing. And that's where I believe businesses truly become successful. It's through these relationships of people that are equally lit up and inspired and aligned in value. So I think we need to talk a lot more about not just the operational components of business, which I think are important, strategy, all that kind of stuff, but also, are you in alignment with the people that you're in business with and expanding together in a way that is fun and exhilarating, that makes it feel like you're not even doing work, right? I think that's a missing component.
We're going to have to explore that when we launch the show. Can you work successfully with people where certain values aren't in alignment? Where does it work? Where does it not work, right? I mean, that gets really tough. It gets really tough. Okay, last question. You are more of an insider now because I gave you a little bit of more behind the curtain on what we're actually planning. And let me tell you, it's entertainment. So knowing what you know, what excites you most about the launch of the Building Business Relationship Show next year?
You actually excite me the most. I'm excited to see you in your element, and the way that I don't want to give anything away, but the way that you've kind of structured the show, I think we're going to get really interesting insight into the different aspects of who you are. Right, so I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to be on the show. I actually thought that today was the show. I should have known that it wasn't, but I was blindsided by the fact that we're prepping for the show. So I'm very excited to be on the show myself.
Oh, you will be. You will be. In fact, my dream is to get to the point where we're doing on location. So we go to Toronto and do a show. And we go to Dallas and do a show, and San Francisco, and then beyond North America. So that's my ultimate dream, is to take this show on the road globally and take a panel with me. So we've got panelists who are commenting on things. And so you're definitely going to be a part of that.
Thank you, brother.
And I just want to thank you again, Jamelle, for taking some time. And I want to thank our listeners. Thank you for listening to the Building Business Relationship Show in this pre-launch phase. It's all about discovery. So if something sparked your interest, I'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, ideas, or guest suggestions. Help us shape the conversations to come. And of course, subscribe and follow on whatever platform. Also, it's on YouTube. So go to YouTube, find it. It's under the same name. You'll find it. Subscribe there too, so that you will be the very first to know when we drop new pre-launch content. And of course, when we officially launch in 2026. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.